Ever feel like you're always playing catch up? Like you're drowning in this constant flood of information and things you got to do.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Emails and, social media and that to-do list that never seems to get any shorter.
Right.
It's like all this potential is just sitting there simmering, but it never quite reaches a boil?
I feel that.
What if I told you there was a way to carve out space just for you? Like a
Oh.
secret weapon that's been hiding in plain sight this whole time. I'm talking about the 5 a.m. hour.
Oh, wow. Right.
Now, before you reach for the snooze button, hear me out.
I get it. It's like the opposite of what we're told to do, right?
Yeah.
More sleep, not less.
Exactly. But that's exactly what we're going to explore today.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
We've been diving deep into Michael Lombardi's book, 5 a.m. Habits.
Right.
It's all about unlocking your true potential, performance growth, achievement, all that good stuff.
So you're saying waking up at 5 a.m. is the key.
That's the claim, and we're going to break it all down for you.
Awesome.
So think of this as your cheat sheet, your express lane to all the wisdom packed in this book.
I like it.
Our mission today is to understand how making 5 a.m. a consistent part of your routine can actually help you be more productive, unlock that laser focus we all crave, and maybe even feel a bit more creative and just overall better.
Okay, I'm on board. Let's do it.
Sounds good. To really get this, we got to start with the science behind it, all right?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What's the biological basis for this 5 a.m. thing?
Well, Lombardi talks about something called the circadian rhythm.
Right, our internal clock.
Exactly. It's like this super sophisticated 24-hour clock that your body runs on.
Controlled by a tiny part of the brain called the SCN.
SCN.
Yeah, the suprachiasmatic nucleus. It's basically the conductor of your body's orchestra.
Okay, that makes sense. And it's not just about when we sleep and wake up, right?
It's way more than that. This
Okay.
little conductor is calling the shots on a whole lot of things.
Like what?
Well, for starters, it influences when your body releases key hormones. Cortisol, which helps us feel alert and energized in the morning, and then melatonin, which tells us it's time to wind down for sleep.
Ah, the sleep hormone.
But it goes beyond just hormones. It also plays a role in your metabolism, digestion, immune function, even your mood.
Wow, so it's like a whole body system.
Yeah, exactly. It really is this comprehensive system that keeps everything running smoothly.
So where does this 5 a.m. wake up fit into all of this? Because for a lot of us, that's still way before the sun comes up.
That's a great question. And, Lombardi acknowledges that for most people, their natural inclination is to wake up somewhere between 6 and 7 a.m.,
Okay.
which makes sense, right? You're more in sync with the sun and your circadian rhythm.
Yeah.
But his argument for 5 a.m. is that it's close enough to that natural window that you can still reap some of those benefits, but you also gain an extra hour of quiet time before the day really gets going.
Interesting. So you're not completely fighting your biology.
Right. It's more like strategically working with it.
Okay, I like that. Now, Lombardi also gets into the neuroscience of morning rituals. What's actually happening in our brains during those early hours?
Well, it's all about this interplay of neurochemicals,
Okay.
especially dopamine and cortisol.
Dopamine, the feel-good chemical.
Exactly. And it gets released when we experience something rewarding, which is interesting in the context of 5 a.m.
How so?
Think about it. Even those small wins you experience early in the morning, like finishing a page of writing or a quick workout, can trigger a release of dopamine.
Okay.
And that reinforces the positive association you have with waking up early.
I see.
Lombardi emphasizes using those little victories to build momentum throughout the day.
Makes sense. So it's like starting the day with a positive reinforcement loop.
Exactly. Now, cortisol also surges in the morning, and while we often think of it as the stress hormone,
Right.
it actually serves a really important purpose when you first wake up.
What do you mean?
Well, it helps shake off that groggy feeling you get.
Oh, sleep inertia.
Yes. Cortisol is what helps us feel alert and ready to take on the day.
So that initial jolt isn't just my alarm clock yelling at me.
Not entirely. It's partly your body's natural wake-up call.
Interesting. And Lombardi also talks about peak brain performance happening in the morning.
Studies show that cognitive functions like memory, attention, and problem solving are at their sharpest during those early hours.
So that's why I can never seem to focus after lunch.
Could be. This makes it a prime time for doing your most mentally demanding work before distractions start creeping in.
Okay, so we've got this natural cortisol boost, sharper brain power. It's starting to sound less like a punishment and more like a strategy.
Right. But there's a crucial foundation to all of this that Lombardi emphasizes, and that's sleep hygiene.
Of course. We got to talk about sleep.
He's very clear that the 5 a.m. habit just won't work without good quality sleep.
Makes sense. You can't just hack your way to feeling rested.
Exactly. Sleep is essential for our brains to consolidate memories, strengthen those neural connections, and recharge.
So what are the non-negotiables when it comes to sleep hygiene?
Lombardi echoes a lot of the classic advice: keep your bedroom cool, dark, and quiet. Stick to a consistent sleep schedule, even on weekends, if you can.
Even on weekends. Tough, but okay.
It helps regulate your circadian rhythm
Right.
and wind down before bed, which means no screens, no caffeine, no alcohol, at least a couple of hours before you sleep.
So it's all about setting the stage for a good night's rest.
Exactly. It's like preparing the soil for those 5 a.m. seeds of productivity to take root.
That's a great analogy. Okay, so we've got the science down. Now let's talk about mindset. Because let's be real, waking up at 5 a.m. doesn't exactly sound appealing to most of us.
Uh-huh. I hear you. It's definitely a mental hurdle.
How do you actually want to get up at 5 a.m. instead of hitting snooze and burying yourself deeper under the covers?
Well, Lombardi is big on cultivating a positive morning mindset
Okay.
because how you approach those first moments after waking up really sets the tone for your entire day,
So no more grumbling about the alarm.
as much as possible.
Yeah.
It takes conscious effort, but it's worth it.
Easier said than done.
He suggests starting your day with gratitude.
Gratitude.
Yeah, even just taking a minute to think about things you're thankful for can shift your focus.
What kind of things?
It could be the warmth of your bed, a loved one in your life,
Yeah.
even that first cup of coffee.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. It's hard to stay grumpy when you're focusing on the good stuff.
Exactly. But what about when those negative thoughts creep in?
You know, the I'm too tired or what's the point kind of thoughts.
Oh yeah, we all have those. Lombardi's got some strategies for reframing those thoughts.
Okay, like what?
Instead of seeing a challenge as a roadblock, try to see it as a learning opportunity.
Okay.
Or, if you made a mistake yesterday, focus on the lessons you learned instead of dwelling on the feeling of failure.
Interesting. So it's about actively choosing how you think about things.
Right. And this shift in perspective can be really powerful over time.
I can see that Lombardi also talks about the role of self-care in shaping your mindset.
Yes.
Yeah.
Practices like meditation journaling or some light stretching in the morning can make a huge difference.
So it's not just about the activity itself, but about setting a positive tone for the day.
Right. It's about sending that message to yourself that you're worthy of care and attention.
Makes sense. Now let's talk about the snooze button, shall we?
Haha. The ultimate temptation.
Lombardi has some advice for overcoming that, right?
He does. He actually suggests putting your alarm clock across the room.
Oh, wow. So you have to physically get out of bed to turn it off.
Exactly. It breaks that automatic snooze reflex.
That's clever.
He also emphasizes remembering your why.
My why?
Yeah, your reasons for waking up early in the first place.
Oh, right. Like, what am I hoping to achieve with this extra time?
Exactly. Keeping those goals top of mind can be a powerful motivator.
So it's not just about waking up early. It's about waking up early with a purpose.
Exactly. Now, what about that feeling of overwhelm you get when you think about all the things you have to do that day?
Oh, yeah. That can really kill your motivation.
For sure. Lombardi suggests breaking those big, overwhelming tasks down into smaller steps.
Okay.
And prioritize. Focus on the most important thing you need to do first and go from there.
So it's about taking it one step at a time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It feels way less intimidating that way.
That's good advice. And what about those unexpected things that happen? You know, family stuff, work calls, things that mess up your carefully planned morning.
That's where setting boundaries comes in.
Boundaries.
Yeah, communicating your needs to family members, explaining why this morning time is important to you.
Okay.
And for work, maybe it's about strategizing your schedule to minimize early morning interruptions.
So it's about protecting that time as much as possible.
Exactly. And what about those mornings when things just don't go according to plan? You know, you oversleep or something comes up.
It happens. What do you do then?
Lombardi says to view those setbacks as learning opportunities, not as failures.
Okay.
Figure out what happened, adjust your approach, and just get back on track the next day.
So it's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent.
Exactly. And that ties into Lombardi's emphasis on developing discipline.
Discipline.
It's the ability to stick to your commitments even when you don't feel like it.
Right. Because motivation can be fleeting.
For sure. So Lombardi suggests establishing non-negotiable morning rituals.
Like what?
It could be having a cup of tea and meditating, or going for a short walk.
Okay.
Something you commit to doing no matter what.
I see. It's about creating that consistency.
Exactly. Setting realistic goals and celebrating small wins along the way also helps with discipline.
And he also recommends finding a supportive community, right?
Yeah, having people who are on the same journey can be incredibly motivating.
Okay, so we've talked about the science, the mindset. Now let's get into the actual morning routine.
The fun part.
Lombardi calls them 5 a.m. rituals. What makes them so special?
Well, he describes that early hour as a time of quiet clarity and possibility.
I like that.
Your morning rituals are your chance to nurture your body, mind, and spirit.
So it's about more than just checking things off a list.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
about intentionally starting your day in a way that aligns with your goals.
How do you actually go about designing these rituals?
Lombardi says the first step is to get clear about your goals.
Yeah.
What are you hoping to achieve?
Yep.
What areas of your life do you want to focus on?
So if my goal is to be more creative, my morning ritual might involve journaling or brainstorming.
Exactly. And if you want to improve your fitness, maybe you incorporate exercise.
Makes sense. So it's all about tailoring it to your individual needs.
Right. And Lombardi emphasizes choosing activities that resonate with you.
Things you'll actually look forward to doing.
Exactly. Could be meditation, yoga, journaling, working out, whatever brings you joy and aligns with your goals.
And is there like a magic number of rituals you should have?
Lombardi says consistency is more important than quantity.
Okay,
It's better to have a few key rituals that you can stick to every day.
makes sense.
And he also encourages you to experiment and adjust your rituals over time.
So it's not about being rigid, it's about finding what works for you.
Right. Now, Lombardi is a big proponent of incorporating movement into your morning routine.
Yeah, he talks about all kinds of different exercises.
It does. Walking, running yoga, stretching bodyweight exercises, even dancing.
Wow, so many options.
The important thing is to find something you enjoy and that you can do consistently.
And he also emphasizes fueling your body with a healthy breakfast.
Of course. After a night of sleep, your body needs to replenish its energy stores.
Right. So what are some good breakfast options?
Lombardi suggests things like whole grain toast with avocado and eggs, Greek yogurt with berries and nuts, oatmeal with nut butter and fruit, or even a smoothie.
Those sound delicious.
And of course, staying hydrated is key.
Water, water, water.
At least 8 ounces as soon as you wake up,
Oh.
and then keep sipping throughout the morning.
Got it. Okay, so we've set the stage with the science, the mindset, and the ideal morning routine. Now, how do we actually translate all of that into getting things done?
The productivity question. This is where that 5 a.m. hour can really shine.
How so?
Lombardi talks about identifying your most important tasks, or MITs.
MITs.
These are the tasks that will have the biggest impact on your long-term goals.
Okay, so the things that really move the needle.
Exactly. He suggests spending some time each morning figuring out what those MITs are and breaking them down into smaller steps.
So it's about being strategic with your time and energy.
Right. And then once you've identified your MITs, you need to prioritize them and block off time to work on them.
That's where time blocking comes in.
Exactly. And Lombardi emphasizes focusing on one task at a time.
No more multitasking.
Or to actually be less productive.
Interesting. So how do all these morning rituals we've been talking about tie into productivity?
Well, they essentially prime your mind, body, and spirit for a productive day.
Okay.
By starting your day with intention, you're setting yourself up for success.
And he encourages us to think about what success actually means to us, right?
Yes. And to incorporate habits that successful people use into our own routines.
So it's about learning from the best.
Exactly. And Lombardi also talks about the concept of deep work.
Deep work.
It's a term coined by Cal Newport, and it refers to focused, distraction-free work on cognitively demanding tasks. It's the kind of work that produces high-quality results.
As opposed to shallow work, which is more superficial.
Right. Lombardi suggests scheduling blocks of time for deep work, ideally in the morning.
When it's quiet and you're less likely to be interrupted.
Exactly. And he recommends creating a dedicated workspace and using productivity tools to minimize distractions.
So it's about creating an environment that supports deep focus.
Exactly. Now let's talk about creativity.
Yes,
Oh.
because waking up at 5 a.m. doesn't exactly scream creative inspiration.
Maybe not at first. But Lombardi highlights some interesting practices that can boost creativity.
Like what?
Well, he talks about morning pages.
Morning pages.
It's a technique from Julia Cameron's book, The Artist's Way. And it involves writing 3 pages of stream of consciousness writing first thing in the morning.
3 pages. That seems like a lot.
It is. But the idea is to just let your thoughts flow out onto the page without any judgment or editing.
Okay, so it's like a brain dump.
Exactly. And it can be surprisingly effective for clearing your mind and tapping into your creativity.
Interesting. And Lombardi also talks about mindfulness and meditation, right?
Yes. Practices like mindful breathing, body scan meditation. Gratitude meditation and walking meditation can help cultivate a sense of calm and clarity.
Which can then lead to more creative thinking.
Right. And Lombardi also emphasizes the importance of reading and learning for fueling creativity.
How does that work?
By exposing yourself to new ideas and perspectives, you're essentially expanding your mental toolbox,
Okay.
which can spark your imagination and inspire new and innovative thinking.
So it's about feeding your mind with diverse information.
Exactly. Now let's move on to personal growth and achievement.
Okay, because the subtitle of Lombardi's book is all about unlocking your true potential.
Right. He connects the 5 a.m. habit to growth and achievement through practices like goal setting and visualization.
Okay.
He stresses the importance of having clear goals and making them smart.
Smart.
Yes, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Got it.
And then he suggests breaking those goals down into smaller steps.
So it's not just about having these big, lofty goals, but about creating a roadmap to actually get there.
Exactly. And visualization is a powerful tool for achieving those goals.
Visualization.
It involves creating a mental picture of yourself achieving your goals.
Okay.
Lombardi suggests finding a quiet space, closing your eyes, and vividly imagining yourself experiencing success.
So it's like mental rehearsal.
Exactly. By regularly practicing visualization, you're essentially priming your subconscious mind for success.
Interesting. And what about building lasting habits that support growth and achievement?
Well, Lombardi talks about the habit loop, which consists of a cue, a routine, and a reward.
Okay.
And he offers strategies for building habits like starting small, being consistent, finding the right cue, and rewarding yourself.
So it's not just about willpower, it's about setting yourself up for success.
Right. And he also emphasizes celebrating your progress along the way.
Those small wins are important.
They really are. They help you stay motivated and build momentum.
Okay, so we've got our goals, our visualizations, and our habits. Now, what about the challenges that inevitably come up?
Well, Lombardi acknowledges that setbacks are a part of the process.
Of course, nobody's perfect.
Exactly. He suggests acknowledging your emotions, practicing self-compassion, reframing setbacks as learning opportunities, and focusing on what you can control.
So it's about being kind to yourself and learning from your mistakes.
Right. And he also stresses the importance of seeking support when you need it.
Sometimes you just need a helping hand.
And what about feeling tired?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one, especially when you're waking up earlier than usual.
For sure. Lombardi emphasizes getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night,
Okay.
creating a sleep-friendly environment, sticking to a consistent sleep schedule, and listening to your body.
So sleep is still non-negotiable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he also suggests managing stress, limiting caffeine and alcohol, and seeking professional help if you need it.
Good advice. And what if your 5 a.m. routine just isn't working for you?
Lombardi encourages you to reflect on your progress, identify areas for improvement, and be willing to adjust your approach.
So it's about being flexible and adapting as needed.
Exactly. It's not about following a rigid plan. It's about finding what works for you.
Okay, so it sounds like the 5 a.m. habit is about more than just waking up early.
It is. It's about creating a foundation for a more productive, focused, creative, and fulfilling life.
Lombardi talks about this ripple effect, right?
Yes. He explains how the positive habits you cultivate in the morning can extend to the rest of your day.
Like how?
Well, by planning your day, being mindful of your energy levels, eating healthy foods, staying hydrated, and taking time to reflect.
So it's about carrying that positive momentum throughout the day.
Exactly. And he also talks about inspiring others through your example.
Leading by example.
Right. By embodying these principles, you can inspire others to embrace their own potential.
And that can create a ripple effect of positivity.
Exactly. Now, when it comes to sustaining these habits, Lombardi emphasizes a few key things. Focus on consistency over perfection. Cultivate self-awareness. Stay connected to your why. Prioritize self-care and celebrate your successes.
So it's about creating a sustainable lifestyle that supports your well-being.
Exactly. And being flexible along the way.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Well said.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into 5 a.m. habits, it's clear that this isn't just about dragging yourself out of bed before the sun comes up.
No, not at all.
It's about intentionally designing your morning to maximize your potential.
And it's a journey that will have its challenges.
But Lombardi encourages us to embrace those challenges and view them as opportunities for growth.
He reminds us that we're capable of achieving great things.
And that starting our day with intention can make a world of difference.
It's about taking control of your time and your life.
So here's a final thought for you to consider.
Okay, I'm listening.
In a world that's constantly vying for your attention, how could dedicating that first hour of your day solely to yourself change things?
Hmm. Interesting question.
Not just your productivity, but your sense of purpose, your well-being, your overall outlook on life.
Like that.
What small 5 a.m. habit could you experiment with this week?
It's worth a try, right?
Absolutely. You might be surprised at the results.